I mean, Mark, the unprecedented, right, disruption brought about by COVID, right? Companies had to adapt to a new normal, right, across the board. Remote working, disruption, supply chain disruption, so many things, right? Now, with automation, automation, of course, has a big role to play in this, right? In sorting a lot of these challenges that companies are facing. One of the important things with automation, or AI-powered RPA, as we call it, right, is that it helps organizations or gives them the agility to pivot their business process, right, adapt the existing workflows, and empower employees to get more work done, right? With connecting to different applications and systems, and all of this remotely, right? This is very important to understand. See, what companies have realized is the effectiveness and efficiency in doing this, right? They didn't imagine it to be so effective, right, and efficient with automation. So that's something that we have seen consistently, right, throughout the last year or so. Now, with Automation Anywhere bots, companies have been able to focus on their critical areas of need, right? Now, this could be accelerating business transformation, or a COVID-19 response, right? By enlisting a digital workforce of RPA bots, okay? So here the critical part is the convergence of human and digital, right? This is critical, right? And that's what, as a company, that's what our motto is how can we bring the human workforce and digital workforce and augment them together, right? Now this will help create a large remote workforce, right? That is critical. And why do we need that? Because the bot buffers additional capacity, right? That helps in supply chain and utilization, or effective utilization of your workforce, right? So those are some of the aspects that we have seen. Now, if I take an example, right, of healthcare, let's take a healthcare example, right? Now, with healthcare, with bots, you can do multiple things, from adequate staffing to managing restocking of inventory, and most importantly, trying to simplify the paperwork, right? Drastically simplifying paperwork, because imagine in a COVID situation, you've got so many forms to fill up and things like this, right? So, absolutely. So this is, the example is of NHS, right? National Health Service in the UK. Now, they had to process hundreds and thousands of tests, COVID-19 tests, at the peak of the pandemic. Now, which is a given. Everywhere in the world, that was what was. But the most important thing here is they had to also process, forms like E28 and case report forms, the CRFs. There were large amount of data that comes from it, which had to be manually logged in, right, into systems. Yes. Now, this significantly could potentially delay testing and diagnosis, right? So this was a big challenge for NHS, right? So what we did was Automation Anywhere with Microsoft experts joined together to build a solution that helped accelerate the reporting and processing of these forms. The solution helped to capture information from these forms, automatically extract data from the E28 and the CRFs, and populate it into their systems, right? Now, it could automatically extract data from these forms, both handwritten and checkboxes. So imagine the amount of manual work that they could avoid, right? The solution could also be deployed on cloud or on-prem, so that gives you the ability to scale, right? And include hundreds and thousands of pages a day. Now, by digitizing this whole process, I think NHS could improve their decision making, and most importantly, free up a lot of their frontline workers, right, from doing these manual tasks. Instead, they were doing more important, high priority tasks. So this is an example of how organizations are doing it, right? We've had a large Middle East airline. At the peak of the pandemic, they had to issue a lot of refunds, right? So they quickly, they were starting their automation journey, but they quickly pivoted into that problem, addressed it, and put bots in use, and they were able to process a large number of refunds through automation. So these are some of the actual live use cases on how automation has benefited organizations. It's great to be recognized again, in the Everest Group's Peak Matrix report. IQ Bot is the only cloud-native intelligent document processing solution, right? That uses the power of AI and RPA, right? It uses that effectively to enhance workforce productivity and by extracting data automatically from documents and emails. Okay. Now, if you look at it, 80% of business processes depend on people, right, to locate and organize unstructured data, right? Handwritten, POs, invoices, whatever that is, right? Now, before the process actually begins, okay? So that's a lot of human work required in that, yeah. So IQ Bot addresses this, okay? Specifically, that's what we aim to address and solve. So now intelligent document processing, right, is a set of technologies that can be used to identify unstructured and semi-structured data and convert that into a structured format, okay? Now, the solution uses, unlike OCR, optical character recognition, IDP or intelligent document processing uses AI technologies like machine learning and natural language processing to capture, verify data, right? Now, it's important, right? As you feed more POs and invoices, for example, into a system, it starts to understand what this document is all about. It starts to see that a PO number is there and the data that is there. It starts to build that intelligence. So if it doesn't find that in a document, it throws up an exception, right? So that's how it learns, right? So that's the exactly using the machine learning and AI technologies. So IQ Bot is that's the most important aspect of IQ Bot. Now, there are many reasons why we got into the Peak Matrix report. Companies want it to be a solution to be easy to use, easy to deploy. It should read multiple formats and extract information from multiple formats. It should integrate with a lot of the existing applications. These are some of the core functions, but more importantly, we also have a lot of pre-trained, pre-built document extraction use cases that comes with the solution, right? So that's already there. Like a document like this, it's already there, pre-built. So you can start using them. Of course, you will have to customize and adjust it to your business, but that's already there. That gives you a jump start on how to start using IQ Bot. It's also available on the cloud, right? So that's why we said it's cloud native. Like our RPA, like our discovery bot, like IQ Bot, it's all on the cloud, right? AARI is amazing. It's a digital assistant, if you may, right? Like we have Siri and Alexa in our personal lives. I mean, this is your, digital assistant in the office, right? So Automation Anywhere robotic interface I think it came out in October, yeah. And we've seen tremendous adoption because we are trying to address a problem here, right? When you say automation, you always think about back office. You think about finance functions, receivables, payables, bank operations, treasury, all the heavy lifting stuff, right? You don't think about what can it do in the front office, right? How can, people who sit and do their work in the front office, how can you empower them to be part of this automation journey, right? So that's something that it helps in a big way. Now, to truly democratize automation in an organization, you need not just the back office, but you need the middle and the front and everybody to be using. Yes, and that's the objective of AARI, right? AARI was brought in to do that, to let automation that be accessible for everybody, right? Not just the back end, right? Front end, middle, and everything else. Now, if I give you an example, let's take a bank, a contact center in a bank, right? We call for many things. We call for credit limit increase. We call for changing my address to a bank. Now, if you think about that call center agent, a contact center agent needs to sit and look at multiple systems to gather this information. For example, a credit check. Needs to find a credit score, needs to log into multiple applications to get all of these systems and then report back to the customer, right? In a reasonable period of time. That is a major challenge, okay? I mean, think about it. You got to train this agent on multiple things. The complexity is there. Not everyone can really absorb and manage it. This results in a lot of customer dissatisfaction, right? So if you look at it, 35% of these processes get delayed because people are trying to, these kind of inquiries are always delayed, right? The answers are delayed because the agent is trying to log in and understand, where he can find information. Now, 89%, if I'm not mistaken, this was in a study that was done, of customers who are, upset with this delay, look elsewhere. They don't come back and check with, your bank for anything. They go elsewhere, right? The third part is 30 to 45% of there's a big turnover of employees in contact centers because they are frustrated, they are, tired, and because of the complexity of this whole process. So if we can make that life easier for them by having this interface where you capture whatever the customer is asking you, the bots go fetch all the information, bring it back to you in one form, right? Which is easy for the contact center agent to work on, right? And understand and manage. So that's what we see. There's a big push in the front office, right? We have many conversations going on with leading banks in the region for automating this. And that's where AARI will make a big difference. So our first cloud solution came out in 2019. It was called A2019. We just now renamed it Automation 360. Yeah, we've moved on. The pandemic has massively accelerated cloud adoption. Okay, massively, obvious reasons. Remote workforce, stress on IT resources, infrastructure costs, security, reliability, and scalability, especially when you have remote working in most organizations in all parts of the world. So that has really taken cloud to the next level. Automation Anywhere has more than 50% of the cloud RPA market share, right, worldwide. Because we've one of the first starters in this, right? So we're doing that. Now, cloud, I think across regions, and I'll talk about Middle East, we are here. There is a huge push from government, from all other industries and sectors into cloud, right? As I said, for the same simple reasons that I mentioned. And that's really what is driving it. Now, in the cloud, we have Discovery Bot that will help you to track your activity, track in the sense record your user activities. It helps to understand the business process. It helps to record those activities and then identify which are those automation candidates, right? Which are those processes that can be automated, right? It helps you to identify that. And then you go in and automate those processes, right? So Discovery Bot is on the cloud, right? IQ Bot, which we talked about, is on the cloud. RPA is on the cloud. So you've got all of this on the cloud, right? We work on AWS, on Azure, and we have a very strategic partnership with Google Cloud, right? Yes, all of this, right? Wherever there is the data center, we will be hosting it there. When AWS is in country, we will have it in country here, right? So cloud is the future, without doubt, in all technologies.